Today marks a year since the gruesome gang rape of a 23-year-old medical student in a bus in Delhi. That attack sparked massive protests across India and even led to a debate across the nation on women's rights and safety.
That's right. Well, the men who were accused of carrying out the crime were put on trial. They were found guilty and 4 of them were sentenced to death. But is the reality on ground any different from that fateful day in 2012? Here's a reality check on women's safety in the national capital.
It was a year ago that the national capital witnessed its darkest nights that anyone could have ever imagined. 16 December 2012 is a date which has been etched in the minds of each and every person in this country. It was a year ago that 20-year-old Jyoti was brutally raped and murdered on the streets of Delhi. And it was at Jantar Mantar that for the very first time the anger of people erupted. That for the very first time thousands of people gathered together to fight for their right to live with dignity. And even after a year at Jantar Mantar, the candle of hope continues to burn.
It was after the rape of the 23-year-old physiotherapy student that the discourse on sexual violence in India changed and a new law was enacted. But in the year 2013, the number of rape cases have been doubled. The number of cases of molestation has increased by 4 times. But more voices are now being heard rather than silenced. More cases are being reported rather than being scuttled. Tonight, I, Rishika Barua,
and I, Aditya Narayanan,
we try and take you through some of the most gruesome cases of rape that the capital city has seen. We try and revisit some of the darkest nights that New Delhi has seen, just to tell you how much has changed. I'm standing at a very posh area in South Delhi. This is the Siri Fort Auditorium. 10 years ago, on October 2003, it was from this very parking lot that a 35-year-old employee of the Swiss embassy was picked up and gang raped by 2 men in a moving Toyota car. It was that night, in October 2003, that she was attending an international film festival here at Siri Fort, which was also ironically attended by the then police commissioner and the lieutenant governor. Well, 2008, the case was closed with no arrests and no convictions. But 10 years later, if that Swiss diplomat were to come back today, she would find this area just as isolated, just as desolate and just as unsafe as she left it. If I could just show you, the street lights in this area are not working. There are some street lights that are on, interspersed, but most of the street lights predominantly in this area are not working. And even though in October 2003 such a gruesome crime was reported from this very location, if you can see the length behind me, it is absolutely isolated. There isn't a single police barricade, there is no security presence.
In November 2010, a 30-year-old BPO employee was kidnapped from South Delhi's Moti Bagh area at gunpoint. She was returning home from her work in the wee hours when 5 men in a pickup van kidnapped her and raped her on the streets of Delhi before dumping her at Mangolpuri. 3 years after the incident, all the 5 accused have been arrested and are facing trial, while the victim has left the city. Now, after 3 years, what exactly has changed in Moti Bagh, which is one of the key residential areas of the capital? We are outside one of such complexes in Moti Bagh, and as you can see, the entire stretch of road is absolutely dark and gloomy. There are only 2 street lamps which are here, but there's not a single police barricading which is here. There's not a single police patrolling van which is here. So clearly, still vulnerable, still insecure. For all the ordeals of all the Jyotis born in dark alleys, born in dark spots, little has changed in the national capital.
Aditi and I are working women. We're journalists. So we spend most of our working day in the gaze of the camera. Our dark alleys are lit by the lights of our cameras. But when Aditi and I make our way homes, which is usually at odd hours of the night, we're just as vulnerable and just as insecure as Jyoti was on the fateful night of December the 16th, 2012.